welcome to another episode of
Dad's on Books.
Hey!
Hey, everybody, what's going on?
Not
Hi, Mike.
much. What's happening with you, David?
Oh, I'm just recording a podcast. What's happening with you?
I'm recording a podcast too. And I believe you mentioned something before this about this being a bunch of firsts.
Yes, lots of firsts.
Do you want to tell everybody all our firsts? Or
I will
some
get
of
right.
them, and then I'll tell you some.
Okay. Yeah, I'll show you mine, then you can show me yours. For the very first time that we are recording our podcast, I am not in my house.
Whoa.
I know.
Where the heck are you?
Well, I don't think you can see this for those of you watching, but there's a purple and black bag hanging on the wall way back there. So hold on 1 second. I'm going to fix that. Okay, here we go. I'm zooming in, everybody. Zooming in.
Zoom, boom.
Now, I'm going to put my
It's
headphones back on. The Grapevine Public Library. Okay. Okay, hold on 1 second. Okay. Okay, just like, yeah,
You were
okay.
definitely
my
not going to
glasses
be a
are on
magician
straight.
in
All
another
right.
life. You don't
For
even,
those-
I could say some really crazy things about you right now. Oh, no.
Now, for those of you who
I
are
missed
only...
my chance. Sorry, audience.
I'm back and I'm normal. Never. No,
Did
for
we
those
say-
of you who are
Did we mention this is Dad's on Books?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, what is this again? Oh, this is Dad's on Books? I thought this was...
Dad's on Cooks.
Yes. Oh, Dad's on Cooks. I'm hungry. Wrong place. Sorry.
Mm.
No, for those of
Dad's
you
on
who are...
Looks.
Dad's on Crooks. For those of you who are only listening, check us out on our YouTube channel because that was some weird, funny stuff. But yeah, I'm at the Grapevine Public Library. We had a narrow window in which to record, and I teach
Narrow.
very narrow indeed. And today I was going to rush to get home. And Mike, you're the brains behind the operation. You said, "Hey, why don't you go record at the library?" And I said, "Hey, I'm not certified yet to record on their equipment." And he was like, "Hey, bring your own." And I was like, "Hey, you're smart." So here we are.
Yes, here we are.
Yep.
And what other firsts do you have to tell us in our Dad's on Books experience?
I think that's it for me that I know of, but there's probably more, and I just don't know because, again, you're smart. So why don't you tell us?
Well, this is the first time ever that I have recorded a podcast from San Antonio.
Yes, that's right.
Texas.
It's only 5 hours away from me.
Yes, we thought about getting together, but I don't have a car, and David doesn't want to drive 5.5 hours.
Dude, I would have driven
And
for
I
you.
Dude, I don't blame you. It's way too far to come for recording a podcast.
And I-35 is basically, I go get on I-35 and take a left and then say, "Hi, Mike." And it could be, I say it's 5 hours. That's if it's 2 a.m. If it's at a regular time, It could be 5 days. So yeah, not going to do it.
Wouldn't be parodied.
Let's do it.
The other first was you were going to tell us about the book.
Yes, this is the first time that we are doing a book by RL Stein, he of Goosebumps fame. Ba, ba, ba. Yes, and okay, origin story part 1. Hey, Mike, you got something on your head. Oh, there you go. Part
I
1.
did.
I had heard of Goosebumps for years
Yes.
because you can't not hear of Goosebumps. And then a few episodes ago, Mike and I were talking with Dan Gutman, our first author guest to be on our podcast. And he was saying about all his good friends
Although
in
he
New
is
York
a dear,
City.
dear friend.
And he has all these
That he
writer
gets together
friends.
with-
I'm hoping it's deer hunting season.
Yeah, and he's kind of a big deal. So
Whatever.
he knows all these people. And he said RL Stein. And you said,
I said, oh my God, I literally just got goosebumps. And I really did. I was
Right.
not making that up.
right. And you two were all geeking out. And Mike was like, wow. And Dan was all, I know. And Mike was like, OMG. And Dan was all, I know, right. None of y'all did all that. But I was like, what are y'all talking
Sorry.
about? What's Goosebumps? Who's RL Stein? And then what did you say, Mike? And probably with Dan together.
I don't remember.
I do. You said
You know, the guy that wrote
Goosebumps. You just said Goosebumps. And I realized that you were saying it with a capital G, not a lowercase g. And then I was, OMG. But one of the reasons I didn't geek out earlier or know what you were talking about, and this leads us to another first, I had never, ever read Goosebumps or RL Stein, and neither have my daughters. So another first this is I have read my first Goosebumps book. So I read the book, and I have to be honest with you,
Yes.
I didn't like it.
Really?
I loved it.
Interesting.
I loved
Oh,
it.
wow. You totally had me going. I was like, wow, you didn't like it. I mean,
I know.
sure, it's old. It's, you know, he wrote it in the 90s or 80s.
Yeah, this one was 92, I think, and we'll talk about that later.
It was.
I think it was like all the hubbub. Not only had I heard a lot about him, I actually saw him speak at a large event a couple
Dallas,
months ago.
Not too long ago. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the North Texas Teen Literary Festival, and he was one of the main keynote speakers at the biggest event. He was hilarious. And I thought, one day I hope to read that guy, and one day maybe even meet that guy. But there was just so much hype. And I started the book, and I liked the very beginning, because like any good book, it starts in the middle, starts right in the middle of something. And you're like, what's going on? And about 2 or 3 pages in, I'm like, well, I don't know. And I don't know where he had me, but it wasn't long before it is such a good book. I really, really, really enjoyed it.
It's funny because the very beginning, you're right. It starts like right in the middle of a story. Basically, the kid getting dropped off at his great aunt's house, who he says he's never met, but at some point in the book, it does say that he met, or he was around her when he was 2. So obviously being 2, you would not remember these things, I think, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it does droop a little bit at the beginning, because you have to kind of find out all of what's happening and, you know, exposition of the situation. It's not that it's just boring. It's just you have to get that information somehow.
It's a necessary
and sometimes
plot
it's
point.
not as exciting as some of the other parts of the book.
Yes, but it really, really, I mean, I just loved it. I found myself, especially towards the end, I mean, page turner, couldn't put it down. What's going to happen? All that good stuff, which you would expect out of a book called Goosebumps. It's a monster blood drive. Goosebumps, monster blood.
Monster.
Is this his 3rd book in the entire series? Is that what you told me at one point?
I believe so. I mean, because when I go to the pages, oh no, it doesn't say that here. I swear I looked it up though. I think it said that it was the 3rd book, but I don't know what the first 2 were. I forget now.
And the first, this was printed in 1992.
And I think the other 2 also were pretty early on as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
and now I'm just looking back at and it doesn't say.
That being said, if it was the 3rd book, this printing was later, because you can't see the details, but these are other books in the Goosebumps series, and there's a giant list. So who knows?
And I'm pretty sure that we have the same
edition,
1992 by Scholastic.
Okay, well, let's get into it.
We got a little bit, so
yeah,
tell me more.
Okay, so like I said, I loved it. There were so many different moments that were just hilarious and also touching. I really liked the introduction of Andy.
Oh yeah, it was great.
It was great. It was what I want in any book of fiction, regardless of the age of the intended audience, because it was just very, first of all, there was suspense. At the end of one of the chapters, he's walking outside for the first time in this town he's not familiar with. And the very last sentence is, on my page 23, "Hey, who are you?" a voice demanded. And I'm going to turn the page and go, I don't know. Is this the monster with or without the blood? Is it a goosebump? Is it I just don't know. I turned the page. Evans spun around to find a girl standing behind him, staring at him with dark brown eyes. "Why'd you grab my shoulder like that?" he asked, his heart still pounding. "To scare you," she said simply. And the dialogue is just so fun and so cute. And one of my favorite parts ever is she says, "What's the dog's name?" She says, "Does he have a stupid name?" And he goes, his name's Trigger. And she says, yeah, that's pretty stupid, she said thoughtfully, especially for a Cocker Spaniel. Thanks, Evan said uncertainly. I could just like my teenage daughter, Delaney, whenever she says thank you, it's almost like, thanks, like a question mark.
Thanks.
I mean, exactly.
Yeah, totally.
And I when that exchange happened and the way RL describes it, I just thought that was really touching. And I think I got into it a little bit earlier, but that's when I really got into it. What do you got there? What you got there? You marked the same thing, didn't you?
I marked the exact same thing. She says, I have a stupid name too.
Yes.
The girl admitted. She waited for Evan to ask. What is it? He finally said. Andrea, she said. That's not a stupid name. He said. It doesn't say he said, but I hate it. And then she says ANDREeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeee
part 2. We're going to spend the entire time talking about these 2 pages.
Page 24.
And when she said that, I read it like you did. Andrea, she stretched the name out in a deep, cultured voice. And I was like,
Yes.
It sounds so stuck up, she says. Like I should be wearing a corduroy jumper with a prim white blouse, walking a toy poodle. So I make everyone call me Andy. So when I read her description of it and Stein's description of the deep, cultured voice, you know me, the actor, I'm like, okay, I'll do a second reading.
Yes.
And then I had fun with it. Andrea.
Which I think is actually really funny that we brought up Dan Gutman.
And I took the same notes. I said, Andrea, exclamation point.
Huh.
Weird school, question mark, exclamation point, ... ampersand. ...
That is hilarious.
Yeah, so we have to ask RL's good friend Dan, hey, where'd you get that name, Andrea, and how is it pronounced?
Because not that the characters seem at all related, but you got the name, and maybe it's somebody they both knew.
Yeah.
Who knows? We'll ask them both one day.
We shall. I really, like any good writer, this scene, and I'm going to call it a scene, it's really well written. You can hear the dialogue, but it's also realistic. I think it's, and they're both 12 years old. I mean, I think it's, you know, I think it's
genuine. Yeah.
Totally genuine. Yeah. Even though their characters are now, you know, in their 40s, but go ahead.
Exactly. Because they would only be 10-ish years younger than me. So yeah, in their 40s.
Yeah, they were born in 1980. If they were 12
if this
in 1992.
Was 92. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. Yeah. I love this scene. And there are countless examples throughout the book of well-written dialogue, both in the dialogue itself, as well as the descriptors that Stein uses to talk about how they talk. And because these 2 characters, and every character in the book actually, but because these 2 characters are so genuine and real and fleshed out, it allowed me to really get in that world and to really care.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And it's that you're not expecting to find one of your best friends of your life, and she happens to scare the crap out of you.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, now I'm stuck. How do I gotta get out of this friendship?
Exactly. And I could just see them years from now. Remember that time when we first met in the 1900s? Yes, you scared me to death. Oh, it's terrible. Pass the tea, please. Oh, and while you're at it, pass me my dentures. So, hey, what are some other favorite or fun moments that you had from the book?
Do you live with your dentures?
No, I just visit on weekends.
Oh, so they're not residentures?
Oh, boy. It's too early for dad jokes, Mike.
It's too early for, dang. Good night.
What?
It's too early.
So, hey, what I was going to ask you, what whilst you were crafting and delivering the brilliant denture joke, I have other favorite moments and stuff, but why don't you tell me one of yours? But before you do, I forgot to ask you.
Yep.
You read this book as a kid? No, because you're too old. Did you read it to your kids? Tell me about your origin story of this book besides you said, "Hey, read it."
My origin story of reading RL Stein is that Dan Gutman mentioned him, and I said, "Oh my God, I literally just got goosebumps." And then I thought, oh, if we ever talk to him, I should probably read some of his books. I should start now. So
you
before that episode, I had not read any R.L. Stein books.
Wow. I didn't know that. I thought you had read him.
No, not at all. I knew about him, but
right.
I had
and
never.
You knew he was a big deal.
I mean, I was in my 20s when these books were coming out. So, like, I
Right.
had nieces and maybe nephews who might have read it, but that was it. I didn't have any real backstory. So
I like it. So tell us then. Okay, so since you, like me, are a relatively recent and new R.L. Stein fan, tell me about some moments that you really enjoyed in the book.
well, I'm gonna talk about this a little bit because I want to bring it back later. I actually, the first R.L. Stein book that I read was this book, but in graphic novel form.
Oh.
So it was really interesting reading this. The graphic novel came out in 2025. This came out in 92. So it's interesting looking at it and seeing the little differences, which
Did
was
they update it?
really cool. Not really, but they did change a couple of little things that I thought really were totally cool.
The reason why I ask, he mentions his Nintendo in the book.
Uh-huh.
At one point near the end, he gets a telegram.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I didn't see that it was delivered by Pony Express, but yeah.
Was it 1992 or 1882?
That is a good question. There's even a more subtle detail. I think because I was looking for it to be dated. At one point, I don't know if when he first meets Andy or if later on Stein is describing what she's wearing, but one of them is wearing a bright yellow t-shirt. I mean, things like that. I understand now that I said that you're wearing a bright yellow. Dude, that's so retro.
Whoa, no, but like, that's so cool, man.
In the 90s, early 90s, primary colors were really popular, especially with kids. Yeah, you see.
And they were united because they were the colors of Benetton.
Yes, I thought you were going there. I love it. For those of you young kids out there listening, look it up. No, I'm sorry. Search it up.
Yes.
So yeah, so the graphic novel, how was it? Was that cool?
It was really cool. And because it was my first experience with his storytelling, it was fun to be able to go back and read this one after reading the graphic novel, because then you kind of see, okay, how much does the artwork really affect how you feel and what you remember about it?
Oh, yeah.
So it's kind of interesting. It was really interesting in that way.
Do you have any regret that you didn't read the book first?
No, not really. I'm not sure that it matters because the story is essentially the same. It's just there are more details in the book because you're not looking at a picture, seeing the yellow t-shirt that she's wearing and the pink shorts. I think she was wearing pink shorts at one point. Yeah.
No, I think it's the same outfit. She's wearing yellow t-shirt and pink shorts. You're right.
So, oh, look.
No way. You're wearing pinkish shorts and a yellow shirt?
They're red, but they're faded.
But so, still, yeah, kind of we didn't plan that.
Weird. I totally did not plan that.
That is so wild. Now, meanwhile, I'm wearing a Catholic school teacher ID badge and stuffy corporate clothes, but whatever. What are you going to do? You're going to cut that out in post. Okay.
Call the cops.
No, but I've got a badge. You can't. I have a badge.
We don't need no stinking badges.
I have a badge. Anyway. Yeah, so that's cool. So you read the graphic novel first, then you read the book. Yeah, I know I've said it before.
I liked it.
I'm going to say it again. I really loved the book. I really did.
It was very fun. And I think it's interesting looking at how an artist views what was written and which images he chose to present in the book. So, but that's we can talk about that whole different thing later, because I want to get to the part in the book that I just started laughing at. I've had other stuff that did this, Evan said, more than a little disappointed. It was called alien stuff or yucky gloop or something like that. And when I read that, I thought about episode that we just did about stink and the slime mold. And I was like, I figured you would have that same reaction. But I was like, oh my gosh, this is just like the movie at the beginning of the book and that one.
Exactly. No, I thought the same thing.
So that was great.
And I wrote it down. I love it. Anything else? Because I have another one.
Go ahead.
So there is a plot point. No, should I talk about that? No. Yeah, no. Aunt Kathryn is one of the protagonists, and you're kind of led to believe she could be. There's no bad guy. There's some bad guys, but there's not a classic you know who the villain is throughout the entire book.
Exactly.
And I don't want to give away the ending too much, but I just got a hunch as we got to see and know Kathryn, the great aunt that Evan was, dumped off at while his parents looked for a house in Atlanta. I got a feeling like, you know what? I think there might be an Aunt Kathryn redemption moment coming.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to leave it at that. And to compliment once again the writing, it wasn't banged over my head. It wasn't, giant loud foreshadowing. Probably wasn't the first time I felt it, but I felt it enough to write it. And it was when he was like, should I tell her? I got to tell adults about this thing, this problem I'm having. Should I tell her? But I don't know. And so now that I'm saying that, Mike, I think one of the reasons why I thought, wait a second, he's starting to feel, okay, can I trust her? I need her.
Right.
Do I like her? That kind of thing.
Right.
That was really cool. I think that's what I was doing. I think I was feeling the same thing he was feeling. That's what it was.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was the feeling. It's that quote from Maya Angelou. You might forget something about people, but you don't forget about the way they made you feel.
I love it.
This book made me, specifically what you're talking about, made me feel like something was going to happen. Like, what is it? Like there's something, and I already knew because I had seen the graphic novel, but it was fun, like in that moment to feel that. Like, oh my gosh, like she's going to be good. I'm
so glad. I hope. Yeah, you don't know. I hope. No, I'm glad you brought up the feel.
And because, you get older and you forget things. 6 months ago when I read the graphic novel, okay, maybe 3. And I forgot, was she bad? Somebody was bad. And I can't remember, and now I have to finish the book because
you got to find out who's bad.
Now I remember.
Yeah. And there were some other people who acted badly and all that. And that was fun.
The bullies.
Yes, the bullies, those brothers. They were like the, Coward of the County, the song by Kenny Rogers. And
Yep.
Anyway, another thing I love about the book with the writing. So I think what happens today in a lot of writing, especially in magazines, there are too many one-sentence paragraphs. And Stein doesn't do that. But like any good device, when he does, it's very effective.
Yes.
And he does it in this book, and he does it on page 87 when I first started thinking about and having positive feelings about Aunt Kathryn. Because I'm going to read you 5 paragraphs. Okay. We have time, right? Do we have time?
Yes, we have time.
And I have the studio here at the library for another 3 hours. Okay. 5 paragraphs. Are you ready?
5.
But not his Aunt Kathryn, he decided. She too was weird. She wouldn't understand. She wouldn't know what to do. And she wouldn't care. 5 paragraphs, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. Anyway, so he did that, and the writing is so good. And one of the things I love about reading a book, and I don't think I've ever thought about this, you can physically look at the page.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one thing if a book is read and it's like read to people and all you're doing is hearing it, or books on tape. But I look at this book and I go, okay, even before I got to that point, I see 5 small sentence paragraphs. There's a reason he did that. You know what I mean? And I just sometimes look at that and go, okay, why did he do that? And I think it may have been when we were talking to Chris Grabenstein and discussing Miss Penny Pickles' puzzle
Yes.
book, Quest. Miss Penny Pickles' puzzle quest. We were
Puzzle
talking
Quest.
to Chris, and I had said that in one of his books, it was third person, but it was always like from the point of view of the main character in the scene. And he called it, it's like third person or third person personal or something. Is that what he called it?
Yeah, I forget exactly what he said, but yeah, I could go back and find it. But
this book
it was
is
like,
that.
I think it was third person personal, something like that. Yeah.
This book is told that same way. And it's revealed from a writing standpoint. There are a lot of times when Evan is thinking something. And I remember doing whatever, blah, 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 Evan thought. You're supposed to use the same quotes and the comma inside the quote. He doesn't. There's no quotes when he says blah, 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 Evan thought. And again, it's not right or wrong. It's a deliberate thing that he did. And maybe it is the right way if you're doing third person personal or whatever. I don't know. I just,
interesting.
This book was so good that I was able to enjoy it and experience all that, feel the feels, like you said, but also still notice a lot of that technical stuff and go, ooh, why did he do it this way? You know what I mean? Right. I love it. Just love it.
That's pretty awesome. And I did find the thing that you were talking about, I found very interesting, because when you get to the end and you figure things out, you're like, oh, where were those points that, like, how did he write that in? Like, I know that there were times when I was like, oh, what? Well, that's a weird thing to do. So on page 43, he's talking to Kathryn, and she says, go play with your friends. Kathryn said, still coldly, petting Sarah Beth's head as a black cat walked by the breakfast table. Why would you want to stay inside with an old witch? And I realized when you get to the end and you find things out, you're like, oh, there are a bunch of places where it points to something, because like 2 pages before that, she was like, oh, we'll make a pie tomorrow or whatever. And so he's just bringing up something that she asked him if he wanted to do with her. And all of a sudden she's blowing him off. But why? There's a couple of other places where it's like, ooh, it really was well thought out.
Yes. And of course, when you see that old witch, you're like, well, of course, Kathryn's a witch. We'll get to that eventually. Yeah. I'm really smart. I'm a hardy boy. I can figure this out. David wanted to know.
That is perfect segue into me saying what I felt with this book. Everybody talks about it being scary because it gives you goosebumps. Okay, there's a scary part to it, but it's still written for kids. And I think it was more of a mystery, at least this one. There wasn't like gory stuff happening.
Right.
So it was like, I did feel like, oh, I thought this was going to be scarier. But
that's a good point.
Then it's also for kids. So, but it's scary enough. And and really drives the story towards the end.
Yes. And also, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I finished the book this morning at the Holy Trinity Catholic School Library, because that's where I teach on Wednesdays in the library. And that's where I finished the book. I'm sitting with Miss Dickinson. She is the librarian at the Grapevine. Dan Dickinson. Dan. Sorry.
Oh, yes.
Wrong first name.
Oh, that's right. This was by Dan L. Stein.
I thought it was Dan RL Stein.
Yes,
is that right?
Exactly.
We'll have to figure that out.
Because RL doesn't, those are just initials.
No, it's apostrophe
mean
L.
Absolutely nothing.
I don't know if you look closely, it's R apostrophe L, and the apostrophe is what signifies the DANIE that is in there. They just make it a contraction, so it's just apostrophe L. He really is
I gotcha.
Dan Stein.
Dan, like in Daniel.
Right. And Dan
Yes.
Yacarino, when they invited Dan Stein to the dinner, he said, "We already have 2 Dans, dude." And he goes, okay, I can be RL. And that's how he got his name.
Yeah, exactly. Because he wasn't always RL Stein. Because I went to a thing through my library. It was an Illinois Library Association thing. And they were interviewing RL Stein. And I thought it was interesting just hearing some of the stuff and seeing how and why him and Dan Gutman could be very good friends. They have a very similar sense of humor. I loved it.
Totally. Yes, absolutely. But I'm going to get back to Dan Dixon from the library. Miss Dickinson said, I asked her about, what do you think of R.L. Stein and Goosebumps? And she said, probably one of the best series ever written for kids.
Interesting.
Yeah, she said, she goes, it's fantastic. And she said, what he did that kids need more of these days is getting scared. She said, he completely scares you, and now everything is so sanitized and protected. We don't want to scare kids. And she said, when kids get scared, it's thrilling. It prepares them for life and the real world, because that's scary. And it reminded me, I told her about some of the stories, you know, the ghost stories I was told at summer camps.
But
this one guy told a story. I wish I remember his name. This was in the 1970s. He told a story at night to all of us in the cabin about this kid who disappeared. You know, the boy footprints go into the stream, and then all of a sudden there's big cat prints coming out of the stream.
Yeah.
And then how every now and then, no one's seen the kid ever since. And every now and then a camper will disappear. And this is before air conditioning at camps. We had a screen door that was very squeaky. He got out some WD-40. He sprayed it, and then he opened and closed the door. It didn't make a sound. And he goes, "Good night, boys."
All I could think through that whole story was, and there was a hook on the door handle.
Yes, totally, dude. Oh my gosh, exactly. And every time you hear that story as a kid, you're thinking, it's true. And this is the first time the story is told. But Miss Dickinson said that, you know, his books were so good and that we need something like that again. So I didn't know where she was coming from. Her intro to her opinion was so slow. It was like it was suspenseful, like an RL Stein book.
Well, that's crazy, which brings me back to the RL part, because I read, or maybe he said it on that thing, but he said he wasn't sure if he wanted to write kids' books. So he just was like, I don't want to get pigeonholed into something. So he changed his name, not really changed his name, because his name is Bob Stein, but he did that. Like, he was already writing things as Bob Stein, or as I found when I found this book and bought it from the Books in Stock store.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I found that, crap. Where was I?
You lost me at crap.
Yeah, me too. So it's funny, because then I went back and I found this other book, and it was a joke book written by Jovial Bob Stein.
Ooh, Jovial Bob Stein. I love it. Jovial Bob Stein.
That's all.
JBS.
So
I love it.
I think we can say that this book is really fun. I really enjoyed it. And
me too. Oh, I forgot. At one point, they say they have a phone credit card. Remember those?
Yes. It was so funny. And part of that is, it's funny because, like, that's something we grew up around.
Yes.
Eventually, because they didn't have that in the beginning of my life.
No.
It happened in the 80s and 90s.
It was the late 80s, 90s. I remember getting the AT&T Universal MasterCard, because it was a credit card / phone card. And our kids these days have no idea what I am talking about.
Not at all. Unless they've read this book.
Exactly.
And
of
actually
course.
gone, what in the heck are you talking about?
Exactly.
You people were crazy. Yeah.
And actually, Miss Dickinson, the librarian, the reason why I asked you if, when you mentioned the graphic novel, if it was updated, I asked you that because she's the one who said that these books should be updated and re-released to introduce a new generation. So anyway, I don't know. I've got nothing else to say about it. I loved the book. I loved reading it. I cannot wait to read more of his books. And I am not kidding you. I really, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
And he
it's
does
a lot
have
of fun.
Yeah, he does have a few other books here. By the way, if you want to play tic-tac-toe, I found this. This is pretty cool.
Nice.
But I once asked
Hashtag RL. Hashtag Stein.
I once asked the librarian here. She was the head of the children's library, and her name is Lee. She's now the head of the entire library. One day, this will all be hers.
Hi,
you
Lee.
Did. You met Lee, and Lee showed us this studio. The Grapevine Library here in Grapevine, Texas, has a podcast studio, and they graciously let me podcast here. But I asked her way back when my kids were little and I was visiting the library, I said, hey, is there a limit of the number of books you can check out here? And she said, yes, as many as you can carry. Exactly. So I thought, I'm going to go get some Bob Stine books. And yeah, sure enough, Monster Blood 3. I got Monster Blood 3.
Ooh,
I'm not going to read it
3
because I've not read Monster Blood 2.
Yeah.
And then I got Slappy World. There's a whole Slappy World subseries, apparently. There's Most Wanted. World. And then he also does what I like to call, ooh, hey, be careful there, kid. There are thicker books. This book is thicker. See, it's thicker. Whoa. See, it thinner, is thicker. And this book is Beware, R.L. Stein. R.L. Stein picks his favorite scary stories. But here's the thing. I don't know if you know this. This is my favorite weather. I told you earlier, here in Grapevine, Texas right now, we're having my favorite weather, shorts and sweatshirt weather. But we got to be careful because you know why? It might rain.
Are you okay over there?
I'm okay. It was raining Bob Stine books. Sorry.
So the last thing on the book, I think we're probably done with it. But
yes,
the next part, it's the add more Goosebumps to your collection. Here's a chilling preview of Say Cheese and Die.
Yes.
Say Cheese and Die. And it's just funny because Greg pushed past Sherry and Michael. You know who you are. That part was not in the book.
Right.
Sherry and Michael were people that bought a house, and I lived with them for a couple of years in Chicago.
That's awesome.
So I just flipped. I don't want to read this right now. And I just turned the page, and it's like Sherry and Michael. It's the Hosps. Who knew that they were already in a book?
Oh, I love it. That's awesome.
That's funny.
Sherry and Michael.
Good times.
All right. So this is where we do the dad jokes portion. In addition to the ones we've already accidentally, not on purposely done. But do you have one?
I do. What are Goosebumps for?
So that geese will drive more slowly in your neighborhood?
To slow down speeding geese.
I had the right thought. I just didn't have it fleshed out, if you will. Fleshed out.
But that's often
Goosebumps fleshed out, because that's where Goosebumps are. You have another one?
Do you have one?
No.
No?
I don't. Nope, I don't. I'm sorry. I was going to look one up on my phone, but it's also my light.
Oh, right. This is a good one. This would fit where you're at right now. There's a scary library in my town. Every time I go there, I get goosebumps.
If kids try to get Goosebumps at this library, they're going to be like, they're on the shelves, apparently. No.
Yeah.
They're on the floor of the podcast studio. Sorry. Hey, my bad.
Since you don't have one, I will say one last one.
Okay.
What do you call a flock of geese on the roadway?
Flock of geese on the roadway. I have no idea.
Goosebumps.
Come on, David. Come on, man. Come on.
It's pretty much the same joke that I read the first time.
That's funny. I'm so silly. Silly,
So,
silly
anyway,
David.
So it was Dad Jokes by Mike Monday on a Wednesday. And that's what we got for you today.
Yes. So if you liked what you heard today, please tell all your friends and share it on your socials, in your emails, in your text, and your telegrams, and your Pony Expresses, and all the things.
And the Instagrams.
And the Instagrams.
Did you say the Instagrams?
I said all the socials, but I didn't say all the socials. I just said all the socials.
Well, you said something about the grams.
Right.
Something gram.
I don't know. I have
Telegram.
No idea. Telegram. Yes.
Send it through the telegraph. Send a telegram and Tally Savalas. There you go. That's all I got.
That's awesome. All right.
And email us, dadsonbooks@gmail.com.
That's right. Email us, please. All right. Cool. Well, thanks for joining us, everyone. We hope you had as much fun as we did. Yay.
Thank you all. Tell a friend.
Happy reading.